What to do if ICE visits your home. Very important topic, and it could be a lot of scary for a lot of people, even people who are US citizens or people who are legally residing in the country. So here are a couple things to know what to do if ICE comes and visits you at your home. So number one is you don't have to open the door or let any officers inside the home unless they have a valid warrant that's signed by a judge. It's an important distinction that an ICE deportation warrant is not the same as a search warrant. If this is the only document that they have, then they can't legally come inside your house unless you verbally agree to let them in. If the officers say that they have a search warrant that's signed by the judge, you can ask them to slide it under the door or hold it up to a window so that you can see it. If the warrant doesn't have your correct name on it or the address on it, or it's not signed by a judge, then you don't have to open the door and let them inside. If at any point you decide to speak with the officers, you don't need to open the door for that. You could speak through them, or you can step outside and close the door. One important thing to remember is that we all have the right to remain silent. So you don't have to speak to an immigration officer or answer any of their questions. If you were asked where you were born or how you entered the United States, you may refuse to answer that question. You can remain silent. If you choose to remain silent, then it's recommended to state so. Say, I'm not going to be speaking right now. And then lastly, you have the right to speak to a lawyer. If you are detained by ICE or you're taken into custody, ask to contact the lawyer right away. Even if you don't have a lawyer, this is very important. Even if you don't have a lawyer, you can tell them that you want to speak with a lawyer. If you have a lawyer, you have the right to talk with your lawyer. Some people say that you should have a signed G28. The G28 is a form notice of entry of appearance as a lawyer. So usually whenever I as a lawyer am representing a client with any immigration agency, that's not the court, you file this G28 and that's how you enter your appearance. So a lot of people say that you should carry one with your lawyer's information on it. I don't think that's necessary. From my experience, the officer is not going to really take that into account at that moment. So it'll be the same whether you have it or you don't. But what I do recommend is for you to start making some contacts with some immigration lawyers, talk to them, see which one you find that you like the most, that tells you the best advice. And so have that contact, make that contact, make sure that you and your family members know of that contact so that in case this ever does happen, you do have that information available or somebody that you trust has that information available. But in my opinion, you don't have to have that signed G28 from the beginning unless you have an active case with immigration, but that's something else. Another thing is very important is that if you are not a US citizen, then you do have a right to contact the consulate of your country. And so you have to tell them, I want to talk to the consulate of my country, and they might be able to give you more information, help you out, or sometimes even just contact family members, put you in contact with an immigration lawyer. Another thing, very important, just like the right to remain silent, is you have the right to refuse to sign any paperwork. I would recommend that somebody have any paperwork reviewed by a trusted attorney before so that they could explain what in fact are they signing and what consequences that can have. In the heat of the moment, somebody feels pressured to sign, but that's not required. You can refuse, respectfully decline to sign any paperwork until you have the chance to talk with a lawyer, and the lawyer can help you explain what this paperwork means and how it will affect you. One last thing would be if you do choose to sign something without speaking to a lawyer, then just be 100% sure that you understand exactly what that document says before you sign it. Because once you sign that paperwork, very hard to take that back.